I see a
Is this thing on?
Hey.
I think it worked this time.
We're coming to you from the live internet.
The internet.
The
Not the
internet's
dead
all
one.
running.
We're not coming to you from Web 2.0. Just kidding, we are.
Right.
I see YouTube channels seem to be going.
Yep.
I don't know about the Twitch. I don't see info from Twitch.
Huh.
Oh, there it is. Now it's booting. It's booting.
What do you mean it's booting?
And LinkedIn, you never know. It's you just have to let it do its own thing.
Just to roll the dice.
Is
Yeah.
it just booting random people out of the live stream? Is that what it's doing?
No, it's booting up. It was rebooting.
You know what I like about the Darknet Diary shirts is that they're not necessarily cybersecurity, right? Like
I know. They're
didn't
kind
know-
of. That's what I like about them because it doesn't just say like, "Oh, I hacked your fridge" or whatever. It says like, it's just like this one is like a cool. It's like Ethernet cables in like a wave.
Yeah. Now that's amazing.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Not that I don't love a good BHIS shirt, but
the colors in BHIS are my favorite.
the
Well,
colors.
that
Yeah,
shirt-
this is technically red. This is they call it ox blood. I don't know what that means, but the colors are
that
not.
design's based
No,
off
the
that,
ox-
that famous Japanese
Great
thing,
wave of
isn't it?
Kanagawa.
Yeah.
Or off Kanagawa or whatever. Yeah.
Or the ox blood can just be blood from people's hands who used to make those cables. Oh, just trigger.
That's true. Did you ever do A or
long.
did you always do A or B? I was a
Well,
B guy first.
I was B, but then I always had to do some crossover cable for the Cisco guys.
Oh yeah.
So they could
Hook
trust
'em
their
up with-
ports. Yeah, I got to hook
Did you
them
know
up.
that you Xboxes could tell the difference? You could use a crossover caber or an A, and it would
you can now,
figure it
too.
out.
Yeah,
Well,
now.
but I mean like original Xbox back in the day when like that stuff like was a wow factor. Like you could
Right.
plug two Xboxes in together to each other, and it would
Oh
work
yeah,
fine,
you can like you can like link. You could have like completely offline LAN parties.
Yes.
Like, no internet, no DHCP.
Well, you didn't even need
self-identified.
You didn't need a hub back then.
Well, you did if you were doing more than two, but yeah.
More than two, yeah, but
That cellular processor was amazing.
Man,
With the
good
10
times. The thick, remember like the extra thick controller, like
The Duke.
Beast or the Duke. It had like it was so big.
That thing was a weapon.
Oh man.
And then Puppy Linux and Gentoo Linux on the actual Xbox. Make up your own custom boot disk.
I remember, yeah, I soft modded my Xbox and had like a, it was like boot jailbroken or whatever. But it was funny because I used it to just put the games that I already had on the hard drive so I didn't have to carry around the discs. So all I did was live like 10 years into the future because that's all you do now.
To the game.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
exactly.
back in the day, that was so cool. It's like, no discs? Whoa, that's epic.
Yeah. FTP servers were rampant.
I allegedly right had an executor chip on mine and then put a terabyte drive in it and then got GameFly. Oof.
Wow.
You name it, I had it. It was
you were not playing 99.99% of those games.
Xbox is the reason. The Xbox is the reason I learned to solder because you used to have to.
Oh
solder
yeah, that little wire.
The spider chip. Yep. I used to get the spider mod chips from newbox.sk.
Probably down now. It's probably gone.
Oh, it's been gone for years. It's been
Yeah.
around since the late 90s.
It's like, what was it? Where's BB or something? Good times.
3-hour Sidewinder matches, dude. Those were my jam. And then the game would end and someone would just exit out of the screen and you wouldn't know how many kills you got because it closed it out for everyone. You're just like, great. We don't know really who won, but
man, Halo was.
I could
the
smell
game.
it. I can smell that memory.
Oh, that was the
and
game.
it's not a good smell, but
all right, this is too specific of a memory. This is going to be used for social engineering. This is a core. Right. This is a new core memory.
Where's Ralph?
I think he's
Florida.
still. Is he back?
He's technically back, but I think he's just laying in the pool, being like, "I work too much. I'm done."
That jet lag.
Jet lag plus just over. I think they did minimum 12-hour days, so he was on a special operations gig.
Oh,
Which I think that's just what we tell him when he goes on vacation, is that he's going on a special operations gig.
Hey, there's a tropical smoothie in one hand and the eyes on the internet in the other.
Yeah, that's right. I'd like to go to the beach and scroll through my phone, just like I scroll through my phone at home.
Listen, this is the new posture. It is.
It is. You're right. You're right.
My dream vacation is someplace far away from the internet, devices, and with a stack of books and some very nice mixed drinks on the table.
I'll agree with that. I
don't think I could agree with that. I can't be away from the internet.
You can't read?
No, I can read. I don't really care to read books. I mean, I can read.
Can you, though? Can you? Just kidding. But roll the finger. We're done. No one else is showing up.
This is it.
All right.
Here we go.
Drum roll, please. Welcome to Black Hills Information Security Taco About the News, I think it's called. This is a news show where we talk about the news. And we have many hosts that aren't John. No John. If you're here for John Strand, just go ahead and Control W, Command W. But we do have Charles, the king of nerd tech, especially if it's retro. He's got more Voltrons than the people that made the show.
Say hi, buddy.
Proof.
So awesome.
I love it.
I feel like, I don't know, I can't tell, but I just imagine, like, in front of your computer, you just have like an infinite shelf of a ton of different gadgets that you just can grab.
It's a conveyor belt. It just keeps going.
Not a conveyor belt.
It's like a sushi restaurant, but just Voltron toys.
It's just literally like this the whole time. Like.
So we also have Wade coming in strong with the mustache and the BHIS shirt. The combo.
Thank you. It's coming. It looks a little red. Like I honestly, I found out I was a daywalker, and so I'm okay with it.
I found out I was a daywalker. We also have Ryan, who always keeps us looking and sounding terrible.
Yes, that's my goal.
That's my goal.
Of course, you sound marvelous, darling.
And then we also have Bronwyn, who is joining us from Elon Musk's basement.
All right.
Uh-oh.
The code's been broken.
For those listening, she is brandishing a lightsaber.
Yes.
I think she's threatening you, Corey.
I'm sorry. Just send me the intro you want me to read next time, and I'll just whatever you want. So some things happened.
Lightsabers away.
Some things happened. Everyone put away your lightsabers. We're going to talk about the news. There's some breaches, and there's one that I just have to go to the airport right now. So let me open up my Uber app. And oh no, oh no.
Uh-oh.
Apparently they got a, as we call it, involuntary pen test. So yeah, basically, for those that haven't heard or have been living under a rock, on September 17th, which is what, Saturday?
Yeah.
They announced an Uber contractor had their account compromised by an attacker. It is likely the attacker purchased the contractor's corporate password on the dark web. Interesting. After the contractor's personal device had been infected with malware, exposing those credentials. So this is all, I'm just reading from the Uber newsroom security update here. Basically, they're saying, they compromised the creds. Someone bought the creds. Each time they received a two-factor request that would block access. However, they accepted one eventually. So they did the old spam it until they hit approve. Classic. And then basically that led to them getting onto a company-wide Slack channel, permissions to G Suite, and that was kind of the big They also apparently reconfigured Uber's OpenDNS to display a graphic image to employees on some internal sites. So I guess you could argue maybe it may have been a younger individual perpetrating the hack.
18 years old?
I think it was sub 18, was it not?
I think so.
I saw a couple reports that said it was 18, but...
Oh, yeah, it does say 18. Sorry. So, yeah, 18. Well, this is according to... Now we're on the Mashable article.
Yeah.
A teen hacked Uber. And employees apparently thought it was a joke, which tells you something about the corporate culture at Uber, especially considering apparently a graphic image was involved. But, yeah, so basically this is a... I mean, is this anything new? I mean, I will say, like, purchasing credentials from the dark web, that seems like something that we talk about more than we see. So that's interesting.
One thing I think that's kind of the hit on is the whole multi-factor authentication request generation, right? The MFA fatigue attack.
Keep hitting
right?
it until they approve.
Keep hitting it. And we've seen this multiple times now in a couple different breaches. So Cisco did exactly the same thing, right? And there's like some good articles out there on how to detect this, but I wanted to see what you thought and how many if you use this actively, Corey. But I don't know of a lot of user training programs that tell users to be like, hey, if this happens a lot, let somebody know. Like, I can't think of any general knowledge that goes with that. I was wondering what you guys thought about that.
No.
Right?
I personally don't. I've never seen it in any type of training where they say, hey, users, look out for this. Like, maybe it could be a new trend that somebody can start up. Who knows?
Right. Yeah, I mean,
I
I do think it should be integrated into cybersecurity awareness training. That I will say, at a higher level, it's probably better to just don't do push-based MFA at all, to go with code-based MFA, because I can't fatigue you into guessing a code.
So
right?
I would agree with you, but I've seen the code fatigue do exactly the same thing. Right?
What do you mean? If I just text them and ask for it or something?
Text them and ask them. So yeah, with the Cisco breach, right? They called the user and asked for the code. They texted the user. They did a bunch of stuff in order to get the user to get that final step. Whereas I think there just needs to be greater knowledge behind this attack for the general end user, as well as like how many detections are out there. Honestly, I Googled and found a couple and found some like good write-ups from Okta and stuff like that on what to do and how to read this stuff. But I don't think as a detection engineer, this is something that's brought to light a lot.
Well, so the valid auth should still trigger, right? Like if it's a valid auth, that's still the same old story with alerting where someone just logged in from wherever and that's a new device that could trigger a workflow. But it is a common thing, especially with mobile networks. People are switching devices all the time. It's difficult to trace down all those valid login alerts. So
you'd have to trace like the failed logins, right, or the push attempts going in, correlate those with the failed logins as well as the accepted logins. And there's other stuff you can do, of course, with like geolocation and computers. You can actually see which computer is doing the push and attempting to log in. There's this bunch of stuff to build the detections, but I feel like this attack is lower in the kill chain, and people kind of think, I'd hate to say it, people kind of think MFA is almost like a silver bullet, not a silver bullet, but it protects you. And there's too much out there where MFA is easily skirtable, especially with the proxy stuff.
I just want to point out two things. Corvus has a question. Two, I also wanted to point out that I have tears in my eyes. I'm just so happy that we're having this conversation because it's just so wonderful that we're arguing over the best kind of two-factor authentication.
Instead of whether we need it.
We finally got to that point.
Because it's been a year and a half since I've had a password complexity conversation with someone. And I just love this so much. And if you're listening to this, I don't care what type of two-factor you use. Just use it. And there's a lot of people that are all like, well, SMS two-factor is crap. Yep, it can be bypassed. Infinitely better than not having it. Like if you're like no two-factor or SMS, you're doing SMS.
True.
Arguments about push. It's just, this is delightful. But the thing that gets me is this is like 1 to maybe 5% of the entire industry is even doing this. All the other organizations are still just using straight crap passwords.
So Bronwyn, what was your question?
Well, one of the things that I see a lot in the pen tests that I edit is that logins have a throttle. Why don't we have throttling on MFA?
So the Okta documentation I had, you can put that into place, as well as automation behind it, that if you see push notifications further enough, you can then either disable the account or require a second type of MFA for that account, whether it be a code or like a number on the screen, kind of like what Google does. But honestly, I don't know anyone else. I don't know anyone who does that, who would take that.
So from the attacker side, when we do this, and Wade asked, do we do this on red teams? And the answer is yes, absolutely. But when we do it, we don't do it like, it's not like hitting them again and again and again and again. It's more like every, few hours, or every hour, every 30 minutes, or just kind of like continuous for like days and days until they hit yes. It's not like actual like super high frequency spam. Okay. So just from my perspective, like typically how I would mentally like to frame it from an attacker's perspective is to try to hit it when they're doing an auth already. So like, because a lot of the different auth flows, there's multiple pushes you have to accept. Like, so hitting them right in the morning in their local time when they log in, or when they might be getting a lot of other notifications, they're more likely to just be approving everything at that time, versus like if you just do it all night at 3 a.m., they're not going to even notice.
More low and slow than like a bunch all at one time to annoy the user, right?
Or you just wait until the next morning, like you hit it at the right time.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I did want to bring up Dave's comment in chat was really interesting. So he said he does use post-based authentication or push-based authentication because whatever application they're using has the ability to report the incident as that this wasn't me, which is like an alertable event and a good kind of break of the attack chain to say like, I didn't do this, and that can go trigger a ticket or something. So that's actually an interesting perspective.
But as a defender, though, those are going to be so many false positives on those.
Yeah, that's what I was worried. And I'm not worried about the false positives per se. And that might actually be a thing where it could be a false positive instead of a detection tuning opportunity. But I think that a lot of users, they are afraid to do that. And the reason why they're afraid to do that is, oh my God, you're engaging with security. It's going to lead to tens of questions. And then you're going to probably have your account lock out, and then you won't be able to work, and then you won't be able to do this. And I totally could see users. Some users would absolutely like turn it as fraudulent, but I would see a tremendous number of users that would go down the path of, shh, don't tell them, or they're going to make your life hell in the security community, like Mordak from Dilbert.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to kind of ask about this breach, just from a general perspective, this implies like a pretty heavy BYOD stance, that it was like a compromised personal device that had their work credentials on it. Is this a hygiene? Like, how do we address that from defense perspective? Is it a hygiene thing? Do you not allow logins? I mean, it's a contractor, so it's like
John's gonna hate me for this. This is a reason to have monitoring for dark web, right? So contractors, this is a reason for intelligence. Contractors are gonna get popped, and they're gonna have accounts for your systems. Third-party contractors on hosts you don't have defenses for. And that's what this sounded like to me, is one of those third-party contractors that was just doing some dev work or something, had that account, they got popped. You would have no clue that that host got it popped unless you were monitoring some type of dark web and for creds for sale.
Well, I will say, I want to make it very clear.
Go ahead, Rage.
I want to clarify. That doesn't bother me. Like, look at what Troy was doing years ago. Like, if there's a breach and it's for sale, yeah, that's something that you want to look at. The thing that I hate whenever people talk about dark web is they're selling the idea that there's a bunch of hackers hanging out and they're going to, like, the almost predictive dark web stuff where they're like, hey, everybody, let's go after Chase next week. And then you can go to Chase and be like, hey, the hackers in the Katina said that they were going to hack you next week. That's what bothers me.
You know what makes it bad? Because a lot of them probably watch Mr. Robot and think that's where we all are.
They think they're all getting together at some dark arcade.
Dude,
which, by the way, I will go. Just invite me.
That would be awesome.
I'm in. That's what Deadwood is. Hopefully.
Yeah, that's what. Deadwood is the dark web of the Wild West, I guess. So confused the hell out of everyone that lives in this town. They're like, who are these people? Why is there so much black in
so
town?
many hoodies? So many hoodies.
Hoodies.
The black hoodies.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, So I guess from, the dark web stuff is interesting. I will say, like, I also would like to call out that is Uber's take on things, that it was probably the dark web. Like, that isn't, I mean, who knows? They don't know necessarily where the credentials source from. That could be bad information, but
does anybody find it weird that Twitter came out with their stuff, that Mudge came out with? And we were talking, it's like all of these companies are probably complete train wrecks, and like a week later, Uber gets popped.
It happens.
Oh,
look at that.
Well, we can just leak into Rockstar too, because supposedly it's the same dude.
Wait, really? You think it's the same attacker?
No, there's articles out there that are saying it's the same person.
Wow.
But I don't know how much you can trust that.
It's another 18-year-old.
Yeah. He's like, look.
Are we moving to that story? The teen hacked Uber.
That's what this is. This is Uber.
Kids.
Okay, so
it was an 18-year-old.
Notice there's another Uber attack. Like, there's 2 Uber stories. 3. No,
there's 3. Yep. One is their official press release. Yeah, I guess
it's all related to the same topic.
Basically, I guess what we're saying is that we can predict breaches before they happen, or should we? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm telling you, just watch LinkedIn. Watch LinkedIn.
I'm not putting out that service.
I love the post, and they pinned it, by the way. The post is, "Hi, announce I am a hacker, and Uber has suffered a data breach. Slack has been stolen. Credential data with Confluence stashed in 2 mono repos from a fabricator have also been stolen, along with secrets from sneakers." That's, I don't know. And then I think then the hashtag is Uber under Paris drives, and it looks like a whole bunch of people in the Uber Slack like gave it thumbs up, smiley.
Well, people
emoji.
thought it was a joke. People thought it was a joke, but yeah, there's a lot of pretty funny reactions to it. I mean, I guess it's like the security team's like, if you reacted laughing emoji, we want to talk to you.
Oh my God. I gotta say, if something like that popped up in BHIS, I would like to think that someone would be like, this seems suspicious. I should research this more. No, we're going back to memes. So, this is, I still am wondering, like, how long is it going to be before a CTO is like, I don't know what this Slack security tool is, but it really gave Uber an early alert to this attack. And I think we would like to have this Slack system here where it can announce that attackers have broken into our company.
If I see that on Twitter and somebody says that, I'm logging off. John, I'm just saying right now, I'm logging off.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to the woods.
So wait, Uber also attributed to lapses? Apparently, they're just like their security.
Dude, it's all over the place.
They're really dropping bombs. They're like dark web, lapses. I feel like it's like they're really hitting a lot of interesting high points here.
Yeah.
Wasn't there was code in a PowerShell script too, or not code, like hard-coded passwords in PowerShell.
Credentials, yeah.
I feel like a lot of this is like it's kind of like a group of people hanging out, and it's like, I bet you won't throw that rock through that window, and then someone does it, and they're like, oh, he did it.
You won't hack Uber,
right?
And they're saying it from a pizza shop.
Yeah. I love how immediately they throw their contractor under the bus, and I get why, right? Like, if you can make it look like it was the contractor's fault, but I don't know. See, this reminds me of the Target breach, right? The Target was breached through a third party. I can't remember. I want to say it's a Ariba portal, but I'm not entirely certain for third party. But the problem was that then gave the attacker full access to absolutely everything. This just tells me there's not really great segmentation there at all.
But also tells you they can log in from unmanaged assets anytime they want.
Yeah, I mean, which is terrifying, right? So,
no, that's business procedures. It's not terrifying.
No, it said to display reconfigures Uber's OpenDNS to display a graphic image
to some. Yeah, we saw that. We were like, that's I guess people think it's a joke. Tells you something about their corporate culture. If like,
what was if you don't go into too much detail, like what was it?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah,
someone do some Twitter digging on.
It's just like, that's another HR violation for Uber, I guess. So. But and I love how they say, like, right here, some key actions. We identify an employee in any employee accounts. No. The compromised employee accounts notified you on Slack. There's a difference between those things. So.
That's early detection, though.
That is early detection. Like I said, we should be selling the Slack security thing. It just periodically pops in and says you're hacked, and then everyone acts like they are.
Was it like a dwell time of 24 hours? Right? Dwell time of how long was he in there? It wasn't that long, obviously. Like,
I know.
Those stats are going up.
Yeah. So what we have here is the triple S package. Slack security services.
Slack security service.
Slack security services, the triple S package. And we can sell this to you at a higher price. Oh, and we can also throw in a pen test for you as well, too. While you're at it.
Oh my God. Just keep stacking it in. So
apparently this is pretty bad. So digging in more, apparently some Uber employees were interacting with the hacker, telling them, "Can you take down Jira and can you fix this bug?"
All right. So a story from a long time ago. Gather round, kids. We're going back 2 decades ago.
All right.
So 2 decades ago. It would have been, Rise of Machine. Might have been 22 years ago now. I'm not entirely sure. But I had something similar, but it was over IRC. While I was working at one of our government organizations, I was able to see an attacker that was using IRC, and I was able to jump in. Because if you remember back then, like, it was always sent clear text. So you could see the IRC channel and the IRC password, and you could jump right in. And I jumped into the channel and I was like, "Hey, this is the security guy at this organization. What's up?" And he literally asked me, I assumed it was he, I shouldn't make that, but they literally asked me if they could stay in the network. And what they said is they use the network for hosting wares on the periphery and the edge of the network. And they are going through, and the systems administrators were really bad. And they were like, these systems administrators are doofuses. So I'm going through and I'm fixing the network so it can be stable for DDoS attacks and for hosting things. I promised to only do that after hours. Please let me stay on the network and I'll continue fixing the network. And there was a brief second in my young mind that I was like, you know what? He's got a good point. He's doing a lot of good stuff on the network. No. So we had to remove him from the network. But it literally he said, please, and I'll continue working for free. Just allow me to do these things. And that was weird.
So we do have a quick report, and I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but the graphic image was an erect male organ with the text "F you, dumb wankers."
Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
So I would call that. Would you guys? Would you call that an APT?
I don't know. I don't even know at that point.
Advanced penetrating.
You can just see the CISA report. They're going through what exactly are the atomic IOCs for this. It's like, well, sir, they will notify you on Slack. Got it. Slack notification. Is that in MITRE? No, it's not MITRE.
There will be an explicit image.
Get a technique on it as quickly as possible. What else do they do, sir? They send dick pics.
That's actually
like, oh well, we need an indicator for that immediately. We need OCR for any
no, John. That's MITRE.
Hot dog, not hot dog.
No, that's MITRE tactic 8 == $.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean,
as insane as we make this sound, there's literally people that are having serious conversations about this crap right now that are like, well, we got to write this up somehow. How do we?
Yeah, someone. Yeah, someone write that up. And yeah, I mean, also you can imagine HR being like, "Hey, we're involved now because a lot of people were sexually, harassed. Like they're involved with the breach. Like they're like, hello, we're here." It's like, oh God, HR is involved with this breach now.
HR has entered the chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which is probably the most unforgivable thing. Look at Bronwyn. Which is probably the most unforgivable thing the hacker did. It's like you hacked our Confluence server. We were cool with that. You came in with credentials. We were fine with that. You posted some stuff on Slack. We were okay with that. You got HR involved. You crossed the line.
The line. That should be in the next training video.
That should be.
Yes.
John?
Memes
John,
and
this is what should happen.
You use that too much, Bronwyn, but it's funny every time.
Only this time. Only because you brought it up last week that I looked like a Force Ghost.
Yeah, Force Ghost. Not as much today, but when you lit that thing up, you did. But this also reminds me of a more innocent time in hacking when hackers were doing it for the LUTs. And this isn't an APT. This isn't like ransomware. This is somebody, clearly they have some skills, no question, and what they were able to pull off and what they were able to do. And like we boiled down, like, what's the overall damage for this? Have they released anything publicly yet? I don't think they have.
It's not too bad. Basically, they're saying they access internal systems. The investigation was about material impacts. Apparently, they didn't access any production systems or user accounts or databases or sensitive information like credit cards. Basically, it seems like they mostly got internal code, internal Slack messages, internal finance tools for invoicing. So nothing crazy. Apparently, they also were able to access their HackerOne dashboard.
Imagine paying yourself out. Like, all right, here we go.
No, I think it was more looking at all the juicy bugs that they hadn't disclosed yet. But
oh my god.
Luckily,
I don't even know where to go from that. I don't have any.
Let's just move on. Basically, if you're a big tech company, please make sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, and maybe just implement some Slack monitoring so you know when you get hacked.
No, stop with the Slack monitoring because it's coming. But I've got a question. Did any of you guys read Better Safety Net, his tweets, Mick Douglas's tweets on this stuff? He was talking specifically about Twitter. And his whole take with like corporate America is, and Mick is one of like the premier security people on the face of the planet. The guy is amazing. And it was kind of disheartening because he said that, security people need to understand that you're a cost center and you're never going to get the resources and you're never going to get the things that you need because we don't matter. And they're going to do the absolute minimum they need to do for compliance. They're going to do the absolute minimum that they need to do to try to do the base level of computer security. But everyone is learning that if you get hacked, it doesn't really impact your stock price. If you get hacked, there's not a lot of people that end up losing their jobs. Or if it does happen, it's really rare, kind of like Equifax. Or they'll find one scapegoat to put outside of the city gates, right? So you have that. And it was kind of depressing to read that, especially from someone like Mick, who's eternally optimistic. But I got to thinking about it from a corporate perspective. Honestly, I don't think that security people should look at that as like it's against them personally. Because if you look at anything in the corporate perspective, right, it's all about short-term stock. That's it. If anything impacts short-term stock value, it is absolutely the highest thing that is on any executive's mind, because that is literally the thing that they get their rewards, they get their bonuses on, the shareholders evaluate that. That is the only thing that actually matters from the day-to-day operations. So security, absolutely, you're going to do the absolute base minimum that you need to do in your organization, but that isn't an issue that's related to just security. It can be looked at as far as raises across the board at companies. It could be looked at how they handle their employees in third world countries that are scrounging through pits to pull minerals out of the ground to make batteries. Like, it's basically the decision tree for the short-term profits that exist in the system. It's not just security. So I'm going through this long rant just to let security people know this is, I don't want to say it's okay, but it's not executives picking on you personally. It's just the way that they're evaluated on. So like Uber has some crap security. Yep. If we're looking at Twitter, they have some crap security. Yep. There are very few organizations out there that have really amazing, solid security. I think it should be the goal and objective for every security researcher, every security professional in the world to find those companies and work for those companies.
So it is interesting. Their stock price has not budged at all. Do you think their stock price would have budged more if more data was disclosed instead of just no?
You would have seen a 5 to 10% dip, right? Because it would be Mad Money, right? What's that guy at Mad Money? What's his name?
Something
Kramer.
Yeah,
Kramer.
Jim Kramer would be like, all right, everybody, it appears that Uber was hacked and the whole bunch of stuff was released. And like everyone would sell their stocks. It would dip 5 to 10%, maybe 15%, but I doubt that. And a week and a half later, it'd be right back up to where it was. For a while, my wife and I were actually buying stocks on companies that were hacked. There was always that 5 to 10% dip. And we would buy it on the dip, knowing that it would go up 10 to 15 to 20% on the flip side, and just buy it. And then
someone make an index fund of badly hacked companies so I can buy it.
That's something I can do. But now I don't even think it's causing a dip anymore in stock.
It didn't
price.
with this Uber thing. It did not at all. Like it is honestly, it's up since Friday. Like,
and why? Why the hell is it up? I
don't know.
They've got hacked, but they have been on it at least, right? They did. Yeah. They did say that.
I don't think anyone's following that closely,
right? That too, but it's not theory, like Equifax where it's like, 3 months later, like, oh, we got hacked.
No. Yeah. Here's my theory for why. Because it's not even bad enough to hit most people's radar. If you're not in cybersecurity, you probably didn't even know what happened because they didn't. I don't know.
So let's talk about the radar. Like from the media's perspective, the media, I don't even know if they give a crap anymore at all about breaches. I mean, it would have to be something catastrophic to make it to the front page news of like MSN's portal or Drudge Report or Huffington Post or any of those different.
I think if you couldn't Uber, that would be newsworthy.
Yeah. There has to be money involved, right?
Because like a lot of people would be stranded. It could have been like the Uber apocalypse.
It'd have been wild.
It could have been the Uber apocalypse.
But that's not what the attack. I mean, it
wasn't.
So let's talk about it. If Uber was compromised to the point where it would make a difference, shutting down Uber would probably get the news.
That would for sure.
So.
Yeah,
but because this was for the lulls.
It was for the lulls and the attacker. Yeah, they didn't go after any, or if if it was shut down, or if a bunch of user data was disclosed or something. I don't know. Probably more if it was shut down. I mean, if a CEO can't get to work in the morning, that's going to cause some news articles.
My Uber helicopter.
My Uber chopper. Yeah.
Oh my God.
They wanted to get one back for Joey.
Let's move on. What else happened in the news?
Who else is compromised?
You got anything, John?
No, I literally came in late because our cows got out and I was chasing cows around. So that's not even a euphemism. People are like, that's a weird euphemism. No, really, I have cows. They escaped. Ryan just said, wow. Cow breach. Do we want to talk about the White House's release, or is that going to get too political too quick?
That's fine. We can. Comprehensive framework for responsible disclosure. Or wait, no, sorry.
No, it's a comprehensive framework for responsible development of digital assets. So,
is this cryptocurrency?
Yeah.
What is this?
I think it's digital assets, right?
Is that like when they say digital assets? Are they talking about like NFTs?
Yep. I think that they're a little bit behind the curve. Aren't all cryptocurrencies like absolutely crashing and burning right now?
Yeah, they are.
Only the ones you're invested in. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that means all of them, right? So I don't know. Do we care about that? I mean, Corey, you're a lot more into the crypto world. I like I said, I love the technology. I absolutely do. And I was watching the Ethereum merge very closely when they went from proof of work to proof of stake. And I love that. And I read somewhere that the amount of energy saved from Ethereum moving from proof of work to proof of stake was like the power consumption of the entire country of Chile.
Yeah, it was significant. And wow. hopefully others do it as well. I will say most people in cryptocurrency don't care about either way, but I'm a big proponent of POW. But basically, I mean, I think my take on it is it's interesting that the government cares and is bothering to acknowledge it. It's like, I think it's an important step in the, hype cycle. Like, oh my God, it's going to save the world. Okay, no, maybe not. Okay, the government cares at least. So there's that.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where, is any developer, if you're an Ethereum developer or whatever, are you like reading through this like, oh, finally I can figure out how to be responsible with my digital assets? I don't think so. But I do think it's, the government acknowledging, and there's been a few articles we've talked about in the CoinSec podcast about them dumping money into like cryptocurrency investigations, and like they're putting it more on their radar, like the government in general. There's like the trade, FTC is involved with it, with cryptocurrency, and like we see lots of investigations where people are being prosecuted for cryptocurrency theft and things like that. So I think it's one of those things like, if I had to guess, the reason they're talking about it is because consumers, like end users, basically people that vote for presidents, are getting hurt by certain things where they're like, oh, well, I don't know what Dogecoin is, but my son set me up a wallet and I put, a bunch of money into it. Now it's not worth that. Like,
Now I got a question. I've actually had a conversation very similar to what you talked about there, where people see it online and they're like, I want to get invested. They have their kids or their nephew or their friends or, sink a bunch of their money into it. And they're like, oh, I just lost like 70% of my value. What the hell happened? I'm like, you invested in something that just evaporated. That's basically what happened there. Maybe that's one of the reasons behind.
I think
it sounds like the stock market.
Well, so it's
actually,
it's like the stock market. So
it's like somebody stands up and they're like, excuse me, what do we need the stock market for? And someone will try to explain it, and you're like, I don't think that's how it works. So
I mean, the thing is,
speak the truth, Bronwyn. Speak the truth.
So you're right. You're right. But the difference is, at least the stock market has regulations and rules and enforcement of policies.
Right.
I mean, they don't apply to you.
I forgot about. Wait a minute. You're right. Just like cryptocurrency, they have rules and regulations that are enforced by the people that are in charge of the stock market. Much like cryptocurrency, where they have rules and regulations and code that is enforced by the people that are writing Ethereum blockchain.
So the difference is there aren't really rules for a lot of cryptocurrency. And I think that's honestly where this is targeted. No.
Code is law, man. I've read it. The smart contract is law. The smart contract is good.
I mean, that's, I guess like that, I think is where their angle is targeting the consumers who are investing in like rug coin and then getting all their money. Just like you talk about 70%, 70% is nothing. There are people who, they call them rug pulls for those that aren't familiar, but basically completely scam. Like this is how transparently bad they are. I go to a website, I clone the website, I change it to me coin, and then I say buy this, and then I just take all the money, and that's totally like,
and then just shoop.
Yep, and it happens, and I think that's where this is targeting to make. I don't know what they're going to actually be able to do about it, because none of these, like, it's not like they're getting a license from the government to run these operations, like it's but some accreditation would. So, I don't know.
What's that, Wade?
I was wondering what happened to all my me coin. Just disappeared.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. You'll be able to redeem it for in-game assets in a totally legit game that you can install on your Android phone that isn't a virus and doesn't use all your data.
And then you can go buy characters in Grand Theft Auto 6, even though the source code has been leaked already. But
did we talk about that? I didn't know.
We haven't talked about that. Apparently, people are saying it was the same person that breached Uber. So they had quite a weekend. There must have been some serious parental.
It was a lot of leakage everywhere.
The parents got Minecraft blocked at their house.
No. What happened, John?
Minecraft, or I'll hack Uber. You won't hack Uber.
Okay,
totally hack Uber.
We need. You know what we need? We need like the hacker summer camp movie where like basically the parents go away and they have a party, but they're just hacking into Uber and hacking into Rockstar.
Oh, man, that
would
be
they're
wild.
Just like, oh, my parents are at the lake house for the weekend. You guys want to come over? And then like 3 cases of Mountain Dew later, they're like, well, we're in Uber. Like,
yeah.
What should we do? Well, mom and dad are coming home in 2 hours. I guess just post a wiener and get out. I don't know.
No, let's clean the money by dumping it into Roblox.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
That is
so. Yeah, basically, this is this story is another news story about another data breach. Shocker.
Yeah.
GTA 6, which is Grand Theft Auto 6, which is like probably 15 years in development and still only half done.
Yes.
Is that what they found out when they went through it? And they're like, "Oh my God, it's going to be another 15 years." This game's
pretty much.
I feel like this might have been out of desperation. They're just like, "Oh, I'm so sick of waiting for this to release. I'm just going to release it myself."
It's like the world's most difficult capture the flag, and the winner of capture the flag gets the source code for Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yes.
The real question is, will someone go and like make Grand Theft Auto like their own open source or like
source? They'll finally get it to run on Linux.
Oh my God.
Sorry, BSD.
No, show BSD a little bit of love. Maybe.
I know. Hey, remember BSD. Our full TCP/IP protocol stack is based on you, and you should be proud of that, BSD.
I am totally proud of it.
Yeah,
Mac users,
right.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah.
But, and this is another company that they have money. Like Rockstar has money.
Yeah.
And, I just wonder how much they put towards securing security. Now, did they go through? They didn't mention anything about how they were breached. Like they didn't come out and be like, we got breached through an external third party. And wouldn't it be funny if it was the same external third party for Uber and Rockstar?
That would be.
Ooh,
that would be.
That would tie all of it together.
There's no technical details shared at all. They just said intrusion.
So when you do buy those accounts, it does tell you all the logins that they have. It also tells you the type of computer that they're on. So you could look for home computers. You look for a home Windows OS because then you know it's like not a corporate computer. And usually. And then you just look for whatever has the most accounts linked to it. Ooh.
See, and you know what, Wade? I've always wanted to go on those forums and buy access to our customers. Like if we're pen testing like a Fortune 100 company, you know, just go on the forums and be like, yeah, we need a desktop at this company, and just like have it fall from the sky. And they're like, well, here's your session.
I'm really surprised people don't allow you to do that, because that's an easy thing to do, and I would think that's fair game. At least if I was a CISO.
The hard part is it
shows you where I'm at.
Like all of the companies don't like the idea at all of any money from their pen test going to those groups. But
I would think it's like two birds with one stone. That account goes away off the dark web, and you still get the pen test. Like red team. Like
the thing is, 90% of the time you're gonna be like, so yeah, we lost your money. We got scammed. Sorry. Trust me. It's harder than you think to actually get what you're paying for when you're operating on those kinds of markets. Like you can use a middleman, but then it's like, well, who is this guy? Like it's just another guy.
Yeah, true.
The accounts I've purchased or I've seen have been relatively cheap and have always been legit. Like every single one, I was like, "Oh, this is actually it," and it was only $5.
That's
it was only $5.
I feel like they're markets, right? They're actual markets, and if they sell bogus shit, they're going to start booting people off their market.
Yes, it's true.
So
it's possible.
I don't know.
We'll always ask.
I'd like to see what people think in the comments. If you're on LinkedIn or Discord or YouTube or whatever, is that something we should be doing in this industry, or is that starting to cross that creepy line? Because so many pen tests, especially for larger organizations, would be done as far as gaining initial access. They'd be done in the first 20 minutes, especially with these. Right here, White Cyberduck. I'm just going to start a pen testing company where that's literally his whole thing, and just buy it.
I would like that. I would like that scenario more than when a red team comes. It's like, hey, we couldn't get in. Just drop us in and turn some stuff off. Like. That to me isn't as worth, like it happens, right? But I would much rather just buy an account and see if it works, and then maybe I'll try.
I mean, why don't we just cut out the middleman and just let me social engineer users and ask them if I can have their account for $10 and they'll say yes.
I would be down.
You want some cryptocurrency?
Hey, do you want some Doge? Yeah.
Hey, you want a $50 gas card?
Flakfest nailed it. Like Flakfest hit the big thing. Who gets the money? Are you inadvertently funding sanctioned countries? Ooh. Yes.
The other thing is you can't turn it off. If you ask, hey, can someone get me a company at this, or someone get me an account at this company? You can't stop that. You can't be like, never mind, cancel request. They're gonna do
it. What if you look for someone already advertising one account login there? Like, don't ask for it. Just it's already on there. There's plenty of accounts already on there. You just search a domain and it shows you. Buy that one, $5.
Sure. Well, if it's that easy, I mean, if it's $5, that what is North Korea going to do with that? Like, it's only $5.
Russian marketplace. That's all I'm saying.
It was at that point that Corey found out that all North Korea needed for their nuclear program was $5.
$5 more, Corey, and you can fund our nuclear program.
They're like, having received the money from some random guy, we now can launch the nukes and hit them.
I just imagine the big clock on the wall, and it's just like slowly ticking up. It's like
it's like a video game. To buy the uranium, you have to have that amount.
Right. They're just clicking. You do not have the resources. You do not have the resources. Oh, now we do.
Here we go.
You require more Vespian gas.
Yeah. I like I said, it feels dirty to me, but we're talking about starting up like a continuous red teaming service where that is literally what we are doing. And now it sounds like if we do that, we're moving into the whole dark web monitoring thing. God damn it. I hate
intelligence companies.
I hate saying Wade's right. So what I'm
I love intelligence.
Wade's mustache.
Intelligence companies are already doing it. Intelligence companies are already doing it. Like you might as well.
I will happily switch from red teamer to intelligence collector. I can just switch my job title today.
Yeah. No, I remember back whenever the compromised creds, we were able to hook into, God, it was Info Armor was the name of the company. I can't remember what the name of them was before that, but they had like the same thing that Troy had and Have I Been Pwned, but you could actually pull the password hashes. And if you want to see the presentation, Tim Tomes, who worked with us at the time, did a presentation at DerbyCon where he literally went through and found a whole bunch. And we got permission from the FBI before we did this because they were holding our clearances at the time. And he literally went through. It wasn't Have I Been Pwned. God damn, what was the name of the company? It was Info Armor before they were Info Armor. And we were able to find like 50 password hashes. Then we cracked the password hashes, like all of that live in that DerbyCon talk. And that was very similar to this. And for a long time on our sales calls, we would just give that to, we would definitely give that to our customers like right away. Like we were running that because we had access to the API and we're like, here, customers, just take this stuff. Like really just have it because we feel dirty hanging on.
On my current engagement, I cred stuffed my way in. Like I literally used a credential that was disclosed in a data breach and got in, and like it was, the account wasn't, it was like expired. So we had to change their password with some social engineering, but it happens. It happens. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So depressing.
I'm glad.
Yeah, that's a depressing. That's a depressing.
I'm gonna take John saying Wade was right and just like put
he's
that
gonna turn
on.
that into. He's gonna turn that into like next time I see him, he's gonna have like that's his theme music.
My ringtone calls it John.
Wade was right. Wade was right.
Yeah, I hate it when Wade's right. So, yeah. So, all right, that's probably good for today because everything else just goes downhill from here. So, once again, everybody, everything's pwned everywhere.
You want to talk about the teams? You don't want to talk about the teams thing?
That's a stunt
you
hacking.
want to talk about that? That's so not interesting to me. For me, that goes in. Okay, let's bring up the teams.
I agree, it's not interesting, but now I want to hear you rant about it.
So the reason why the teams thing bothers me is it's like if attackers get on your computer system, they can get access to sensitive files. Well,
okay,
yeah, that doesn't.
But John, we can get rid of teams if we work hard enough on this one.
You're right. This is horrible. This is the worst thing ever. And what we need to do is uninstall teams.
Also, as I recently heard on a popular Infosec news podcast, Slack is a security monitoring tool. So
nothing but bad advice, except uninstalling teams. If you do anything that we talk about on this show, uninstall teams.
And if your boss asks why they can't talk to you, just say that it's for security reasons.
Security. I just really don't like, I hate Teams so much. I hate like the entire Microsoft suite. If it's not running in my browser, makes me sick to my stomach. It's just hot garbage. And then CX pointed out, it's a huge like resource monster on systems. Like what the hell is it doing on this as well?
The only thing worse as far as system resource hogging is Adobe products.
Oh, yeah.
No, what about antivirus or EDR?
I think Adobe's worse than AV.
Yeah. No, Adobe is where I learned that RAM actually stands for rarely adequate memory.
Right. Well, that's Microsoft products in general. Like Microsoft as an operating system is trying, like if there's extra memory, it's like, oh my God, it's going to waste. We need to use that. That's just that's the way that they use it for absolutely everything. But I mean, if you go to Metasploit post-exploitation modules, there's literally thousands
for
of
file access,
where you can pull files and pull.
And also DP API, which is the data protection API in Windows, doesn't actually protect your data very effectively. And I can get all your browser cookies and all your stuff. So it's like, honestly, from my perspective, like I'm not going to bother with Teams. I'm just going to go straight for your Office 365 token in your browser and just I can log into Teams later because I have your PRT. So it's all good.
So I guess we're going to tell everyone, like, please, if you're going to use this as a security thing to get rid of Teams in your organization, well played. If you're going to lose sleep over this, don't.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. That's why I wanted to bring it up.
I don't know. When we brought it up in the BHIS meeting today, I think we're telling everyone to uninstall it, which part of me, like a little bit, I was like, I should probably step in. But then again, I really hate Teams.
You're like, no.
So, and then people are like, oh, but then some features will be lost. You can't do Teams in the browser and have backgrounds. I'm like, don't care.
Okay, right.
Care. So, yeah. All right. All right. So, any other stories we want to close out?
I got one little one.
Okay. Go for it.
One little. I threw it in the chat. Did you see that someone claimed LockBit ransomware's bug bounty?
The
No
one
way,
that
really?
if you dox the creator, that one?
I threw the link.
That's Kiwi Farms.
Is that it? I saw it somewhere. Hopefully this is real.
Victim logo.
$50,000.
Benjamin Franklin. It was possible to decrypt any VM. Dude, the bug was. Oh my god. The bug.
No.
Oh, okay. So okay.
Asshole.
Okay, zoom out. Okay, so for those that aren't in the know, this is what we're triggered about. So a ransomware company started a bug bounty program. And I can't even believe I just said ransomware company, but that's where we're at. That's where we live. But anyway, they had a bug bounty program, and someone submitted a bug bounty where you could decrypt their ransomware encrypted files for free, and that was a bug that they paid $50,000 to this person who discovered that. So I guess
like 50 grand is low too. I would think for that.
You would think that if somebody would have like gone to any of the major AV companies, like they would have paid much more than that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's why I thought it was possibly fake, because I'm like, that's a relatively costly bounty. And
I mean,
to waste it on them.
But
it's
let's
guaranteed work though.
Yeah.
Whoever did this would rather work with LockBit than work with
bug bounty.
Bug bounty program.
Yes. That and it is. We talk about this all the time in the crypto space. Crypto bug bounties, dude, they'll be like 15 million, 10 million, like they're huge. And then Microsoft, hey, fix user enumeration. They're like, that's a feature, and we'll give you a T-shirt if you want one, or put your name up on some website. Like it's so. I will say, like, it is so frustrating, but at the same time, it does show. We need to be better dealing with bug bounties. We need to give bigger payouts. We need to, you got to compete, because if you're not going to compete, then this is going to happen.
Yeah, we need to go back and restart the no free bugs movement.
Woo!
So, yeah.
Charles is in.
Like I said, just absolutely insane. All right. Well, that wasn't cheery at all. That was not a positive note. Hey, on a positive note, sometime this year, PCI is going to raise their password complexity standard from 7. So,
we'll have to come up with some new triggers to get you to rant.
Yeah, that's not hard. I have so many.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
I saw Wade was like kill chain.
He said low level in the kill chain.
Kill chain.
Threat feed.
I'm chasing cows, and I'm like, Erica, I need to get on the news.
I heard
disturbance on the newscast.
There's a disturbance on the newscast. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks for the cast of characters for showing up. And with that, we'll see you. I will be out, by the way, for the rest of the this week's stuff for the ASLR for tomorrow and on Wednesday, because I'm going out to DC and I'm going to be at BrewCon. So if you're in Europe and you're looking for a cool con, get to BrewCon. If you're at BrewCon, swing by and say hi and get a free copy of Backdoors and Breaches and a free fist bump, because we don't hug now post-COVID. So sorry, no cuddles. All right, later, everybody.
Toblerone.